You wouldn't build a house without a foundation, so don't build your business without one. This is Mindset Monday, where we lay out the tools, frameworks, and mindset you need to scale your contracting or trading business today.
Our partner. Oh, keep saying mute. Yes. No. Unmuted. All right. Here we go. One of these days we'll figure this thing out. All right. Welcome back to Mindset Monday. I'm your host, Gary Bake with Build Pro. We're here with our partners. I can't say in crime, but our partners on the dime. Contractor Plus, Justin Smith and the boys. I think he really appreciated that one. All right. So here we are. We are in August. Can you believe it already? August. And it's not going to slow down. Listen, I'm at the point in life right now where I kind of want things to slow down, and they're not, right? It just kind of sucks. You just got to be present and enjoy as much of it as you can. Thank you, my friend. Modern Electrical Services says, now I can hear you. What is up? Appreciate you being here on the show. Again, if you're with us live, go ahead and drop your name and your business name, and we'll give you the good old shout out. Well, there's a couple things I want to share with you guys today. The first one is probably going to have you laughing like me. The second one will probably have you feeling it in the gut like me. So let's start with the good stuff. This last weekend, we went with a couple friends of ours and toured some of the parade homes here in Salt Lake City. And it's interesting. They have almost 30 parade homes. We didn't go to them all. We probably went to about 18 of them. Yes, the bigger ones. But I will tell you something that has been something difficult for me to understand, right? And it's this. There is always a market. There is always a market for who you are and what you do. It's just about finding them. Now, what do I mean by that? I met with a good friend of mine, Zach's his name. He owns a company called Vibe Homes. They're a custom home builder. I've known Zach for a few years now. And I remember when he started on his first custom home, right? He was stressed out. It's him and his wife. And eventually his brother came and joined him. And they're just struggling through like getting this first house done. And here he is a couple of years later. He has two, not one, but two houses in the parade of homes. And they are absolutely beautiful homes, right? And I was talking to his brother at the second home, kind of catching up and whatnot. And I was like, how are things going? He's like, they're busy, but they're good. We're getting a little bit of a break. And then he says, but we've got 6 new homes coming up, right? And we kind of laughed at it because I remember a couple of years back, Zach's like, hey, 2 to 3 a year, and I'm a happy camper. And here he is about to do 6 and possibly more. But I'm going to tell you that the houses they focus on are not houses that you and I would probably own. I mean, maybe you're different than I am. But for the average homeowner, they are not the builder for you, right? What do I mean by that? Well, one of their houses, they started as a spec home, and about a month in, somebody came in and quote unquote bought the spec home, but redid the plans and turned it into a 13,000 square foot home with a full basement, right? And it was an absolutely stunner of a home. In the master closet, right? I think we're all used to seeing big closets in nice houses. This one had floor to 20-foot ceiling cabinets, like all the way up, like the ladder that you would have in a library, they had in their master closet, right? Now, I tell you that because they took what was an original concept for an idea, which would probably been, I think, $1.8 to $2 million home, and turned it into a $4 million home, right? But I will tell you, because the interesting part in this whole thing is that there's always a buyer. I think sometimes we get stuck thinking that, oh, well, I need to lower my prices so I can attract more buyers, or I need to be more competitive, or no, you don't. You don't. Some of you guys know that I've talked about my good friend, Tim Brown here. So Tim Brown owns a company called RGS Exteriors, and RGS Exteriors, by Tim's own admission, is the most expensive exterior company in the area by far. And he gets asked all the time, well, why are you so expensive? And he says, well, because I provide a level of product and service that no one else can. That's why he's the most expensive, right? His warranty is second to none. His team's second to none. The products that he uses, second to none. So he charges that because he knows he's worth it. And I can also tell you, he's the largest exterior company, residential, in the Valley, right? But what does that tell you, right? I've had a lot of really interesting conversation over the last couple of weeks. And what I've realized is people aren't always after the cheapest. They aren't after the fastest, right? There's a lot of people who value quality. There's a lot of people who are willing to pay more for something that can be more. I can also tell you in this exact parade of homes that I saw some houses that I will not reveal the builder, but I will tell you that I can't believe that these are multi-million-dollar homes. I'm talking about walls that are wavy, right? You're looking down the hallway and you're like, whoa, what's going on here, right? I'm talking about flooring that isn't matched up, like they're missing a transition here or there, right? I'm talking about paint that's ran or dripped. I'm talking about drywall that's not finished. Multi-million-dollar homes. So I want you to get out of your head the fact that you can't be afraid, ashamed to charge what you know you're worth. You're not for everybody, and that's okay. That's okay. I talked to an electrician this weekend. We went to a networking event. Have you guys seen those like 3D, like projected on the floor house plans so you can kind of walk through your house before you're there? So there's a new company. Well, I think it's called Walk Your Plans. And we went in and they had, some food and some music and, some networking and whatnot happening. And so we were there. We saw a girl that we'd recently, connected with. She's like, oh, my husband is an electrician. Him and his partner just started. I'm like, oh, that's great. So she brings him over and I'm being nice, hey, how's it going? And, asking him a little bit about his business and whatnot. And he's like, well, what do you do? I tell him what I do. And he's like, oh, well, maybe you can help me. And I said, maybe I can. I said, but honestly, I'm not your guy. And he was kind of like, what do you mean you're not my guy? I was like, we normally work with contractors that are doing over $1 million a year. It's not that we don't have things that can help you, because we do. But for what the service that we provide, right, what we do for you, it makes more sense if you're doing over $1 million a year, period, right? Some of you guys are like, well, how much do you charge? I'll tell you, right? Anywhere from $1,500 a month to $4,000 a month. But we get results, right? We took a kitchen and bath remodeler from 1.8 to $5 million in 18 months. Like, we get results, right? But we get results for people who are at the level and the mindset that are ready for those results. So I am perfectly comfortable walking into a room and saying, I'm not your guy. By the way, it works both ways. I have a buddy. He's a friend of mine now. He owns a big concrete company. They do about $35 million a year. Jeff's his name. And the first time I met Jeff, he's like, tell me what you do. And I told him, he's like, well, maybe you can help us out. I'm like, tell me a little bit about your business. And he's like, blah, 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 blah. Business, 20 years, 35 million. I was like, Jeff, I'm going to stop you there. He's like, why? I said, I'm not your guy. He's like, why not? I was like, because our sweet spot is about 1 to 10 million. Like, that's our sweet spot. That's who I have the team crafted for, right? The program crafted for, the results, everything is 1 to 10 million. It's not that I couldn't help him out. It's not that I wouldn't take his money, right? But like, I'm not the person who's going to help him get the results that he's after, period. And that's okay. So first thing I wanted to get off my chest and really help you guys see is that you're not the person for everyone. And that's okay. That is okay. If you're an electrician and you're like, man, I really want to do more new homes, unless you're willing to play the margin game, which is volume, don't go work for production builders. They're going to nickel and dime you. They're going to get the cheapest rate possible. And if you're not cheaper, they're going to go with the guy that is, period. Right? Not your guys. But if you want to do new homes, maybe you go with the custom or the remodel, right? Find the people who are willing to pay the price for the thing that you can do better than everybody else, period. Fair? All right. Let's go to the next piece. This one is sometimes a little hard for people to say, and it's even hard for me to say. We're going to lose about $15,000 on a job. Yeah. And we found out last week, multiple meetings, walking the job with the super and the project manager, talking to the owner. We're going to lose about $15,000 job or $15,000 on this job. Now, how? You're like, wait a minute, Garrett, you always talk about clear contracts. Wait a minute, Garrett. You always talk about, making sure your bids are accurate. Wait a minute, Garrett. You always talk about change orders. You're right. I do. And sometimes I have to open my mouth and insert my foot. And that's what happened here. Friend of mine, he's a GC. It's a commercial project. We're doing the drywall and the drop ceiling on this project. He calls me and he's like, hey, can you help me? I didn't bid it in the open market. He's like, the guy that was going to do it backed out. I was like, sure. So he sends over the plans. We look over the plans. I send it to my drywall guy to make sure he's good with it. He's good with it. I'm like, cool. Yeah, we can do it for it. Well, we're getting to the point we're at now. We've already finished the drywall, the stairways, the hallways, the lobby, all the common areas, elevator shaft. And the superintendent is like, hey, the plans call for finishing the interior walls on this project. And I was like, well, it's a core and shell. Like, we don't do interior walls, right? The tenant's going to come in and do their electrical and their plumbing, and they're just going to rip down the drywall anyway. We don't do interior walls. And he's like, well, the plans say they do. And I was like, okay. So I went back, looked at the plans, and sure as hell, plan said finish the interior walls. And it sucked because I fought it, right? I fought it with the project manager. I fought it with the owner, but everybody was going off the plans. And shame on me for not looking detailed enough into the plans, right? So that's going to cost me another $15,000, like more than the profit. Like literally we're going to lose money on this project. Now, why do I tell you that? I tell you that because I want you to know that sometimes the experiences in business and in life, but really in business, are the ones you have to go through to make sure that you don't make bigger mistakes down the road. Why do I say that? Do I want to make a $15,000 mistake? No. Do you? Probably not, right? So the question that you have to ask yourself is, are you willing to pay for a $15,000 mistake, or $5,000 or $3,000 or $300 now, or a bigger one down the road? We just landed our first 7-figure project. We did a job walk this morning, right? Our first 7-figure project. And I can tell you that job walk was 100% different than the one I did for this other job. 100%. Literally recording all the conversations, documenting, recapping, making sure that we had measurements, making sure that I had everything that was included as well as excluded, like everything detailed out. Now, should it have been like that from the beginning? Yeah, it should have. And my fault for not doing that. But I can also tell you that I wasn't really serious about it until it bit me, right? And it cost me $15,000. But now I can tell you we're already resubmitting the initial change order because of changes that the project manager and the site supervisor wanted to make, where before I wouldn't have done it. Now, you may be afraid to do this, and I get it because I used to be as well. But I can tell you, you are not running a charity, you're running a business. And your job is not to be the nice guy. Your job is to be the fair guy. Good friend of mine, Adam King, we met last week and we were talking about this. And he was the one that brought it to my attention, which I love Adam. He's a great guy. He's been in business for a lot of years. He does commercial caulking and waterproofing. And so Adam's like, hey, you have to stop being the nice guy. People will take advantage of the nice guy. And it's so true. Like, it doesn't mean you can't be nice, but you're not running a charity. And working with the same builder on a previous job, we bent over backwards. Hey, can you help us with this? Hey, do you mind doing this? Hey, can you? And we did. Because in our minds, we're like, oh, this will help us for the next job, right? We'll get more work out of this. When truth be told, the only thing that changed was the amount of dollars in my pocket. That was it. Why am I telling you this? Because I want you to start paying attention to what's happening in your business. I want you to start paying attention where it is that you're being nice, but ultimately costing yourself money. Because at the end of the day, you have a family, you have a business, you have the families of the people that you're employing, you have a mortgage, you have rent, you have all these things that you are responsible for. And if you're getting taken advantage of, or even worse, taking it and not doing something about it, then shame on you. Shame on you for not understanding why you started in the first place. I tell people, like, I don't want a supercar. Like, it's not my thing. I don't want a Lambo at the end of this thing. I want 100 acres. I want houses for all my kids. I want a stream that runs through my property so I can fish, or at least get better at fishing, right? I want all of these things that aren't going to happen. Number one, if I don't put forth a quality product. And number two, if I don't charge what I'm worth. If I'm not willing to have the tough conversation with the person that I contracted with, whether that be the homeowner, whether that be the owner of a project, whether that be the GC, if I'm not willing to have that conversation, and you have to be willing to have that conversation. Otherwise, hang it up, my friend. Go work for somebody else, because you're doing the entire industry a disservice. Now, what do I want you to pay attention to this week? Well, as I recap the okay. Number one is I want you to own your worth, right? I can't determine what you're worth. Neither can the market. Only you can. Only you can. And by the way, you can be as niche specific as you want. I met a gentleman this last week who does custom staircases. And you're like, staircases? I'm like, yeah, staircases. There's a home in Park City up here, big ski resort. Okay. It is a 7-story staircase. 7 stories. Think about that for a minute. A staircase, right? Now, do you think there's any amount of money that owner isn't willing to pay for that staircase? No. Obviously, he does quality work and whatnot. But the thing is, I want you to understand is that you're not after everyone. You are after the people who are willing to pay what you're worth. So be willing to charge what you're worth and stick to your guns. Be willing to say, I'm sorry, Mrs. Jones, I'm not your guy. I value quality over price. And if you don't, that's okay. I'm not your guy. Okay. That's the first thing. The second thing is you're going to make mistakes. We all do. Okay. But life is about learning from your mistakes and moving on as quickly as possible. Stop getting taken advantage of, right? If I make that mistake the first time, I get it. I own it, right? If I make it again, shame on me. Shame on me because I already knew what was going to happen. I may have told myself, oh, well, I can just handshake this change order. They're going to pay it. They're good for it. They're a good guy. Till you take it in the shorts again. And your wife wondering why you're working another weekend. Well, because you got to get that side job done to make up for the stuff that you didn't get paid for, but you also have to pay your bills. Choice is yours. Choice is yours. All right, that's all I got for you guys. Again, take these little lessons I'm teaching you, I'm sharing with you, I'm going through, okay, and apply them to your business, because you do have a business that's worth it. You do have a family that's worth it. You do have a life that's worth it. But there's one thing left for you to do, and that, my friends, is to get after it. 3, 2, 1. Off you go.